What's up, Playboy?
All right. Let's get into the AFC West. We're gonna give you our predictions for all the teams, how they're gonna do in the regular season. I got Toya with me because she's a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I'm trying to look
So
for it. Usually I have my Chiefs cup in here. I got a whole Chiefs little scoreboard clock, but I moved it to the other room because it got a speaker on it. I needed to be jamming somewhere else. But trust me, Kansas City stand up. We in this thing.
facts, facts. So we will start with the best for first, the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm gonna start us off here a little bit. I think the Chiefs might go 15-2.
how
I got I gotta give
how
them
ironic.
respect.
How ironic. I'll go ahead and let you know. So do I.
Look, they're a monster team. I think they got better again. Like they lost some receiver talent, but like they're like second string receivers were putting up numbers too.
We're good. We're good.
Like
I really,
so I like this.
it sucks that we lost Sammy Watkins. I'm actually a fan of Sammy's play. I think he has a nice motor. He's been committed to the unit, and regardless of injury, being out, whatever, he's always come back and been reliable with. But with him moving out and your boy Cole kind of sliding into that position now as a nice I'm a bigger fan of Cole. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I think he has.
Y'all
Nice.
was
Yeah,
Tony
you know what I'm saying?
Playboy.
He has, I think, the more comparable speed to Tyreek. I think he is the player that has been a part of more memorable big moments for us and been a part of a lot more clutch plays. And I think he got the heart, you know what I'm saying, of the city behind him, just on behalf of somebody who's been seeing him interact with the town and with the city. Not to say Sammy didn't have love, but he definitely did. And then on top of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not forget one name that I think, was louder, but because he was a rookie and was still transitioning or whatever and had some stuff move around, we had to figure out. But Clyde Edwards-Helaire is in the building, baby. And so it's typical of the Kansas City Chief offense, next man up kind of mindset and mentality. I think we looking long and strong right there in that wide receiver position for real.
Facts. I have the only two losses I have them taking, and I'm gonna say it's week 1 to the Browns and week 5 to the Bills. And I think week 1 is actually the most vulnerable Kansas City will be all year long. They got a brand new O-line. They basically rebuilt the whole thing. They got Joe Tooney from the Pats. They got Orlando Brown from the Ravens that let tackle. They brought in Kyle Long, a former Bear, to play guard. And week 1 is going to be interesting because Kyle Long got hurt during OTA's camp. So he's either just going to be fresh back, not fully conditioned, or you'll have a backup in there. And you're going to deal with what might be the best defensive line in the NFL with the Browns that week. I think.
No, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I know we're talking about the O-line, and I'm optimistic though, right? We got some new pieces, but we getting DeBarnay Tardif back, right? I think if he's able to kind of readjust and get back and find his swag, we gonna be feeling good. And then Chris Jones is still, the anchor of that unit. He moved. Did he move sides from like the left to the right or something like that? Like he a right tackle now?
Yes. Orlando Brown was like, I have to play left tackle. That's why he got out of Baltimore. He's like, I must be a left tackle. I think his dad was. So he's like, I'm a left tackle.
Absolutely. But that's the leadership, though, that we see is like, all right, come on in, do what makes you feel comfortable. We got to slide over here and go ahead and just be the functional unit that we know we can be. And so that's what's looking good. But you were talking about the Browns defense, which ain't no push arounds either. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, my bad. Back to the Browns.
You good. I think that's just going to be the time. It's going to take the O-line some time to gel, just new faces. That's all about like just coordination and reps. That O-line is only going to get better as the season goes on as long as they're healthy. And the Bills, I just think, are sneaky good. Like the Emmanuel Sanders signing went so under the radar. He's going to be a great compliment to Stephon Diggs. Their defense was already good. But absent injuries, I feel like the Chiefs are going to steamroll the entire league once again.
We knocking on wood. I think that's my biggest concern, right? I think we have the best big three in football, in terms of Kelsey, in terms of Tyreek, who I feel like for whatever reason has slid out of the great graces of a lot of people ranking, people in his position, a lot of different, I think he just kind of got slept on. But I think that's because it's the trade-off you have when it's a everybody can eat type of team is that, I think the touches were there, but some of the, I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain why he stopped getting as much respect and as much shine. But I think them alongside Patty is just about to be a great situation and a beautiful reckoning that we're familiar with as long as they can stay healthy.
I agree. I think people overrate his speed, even though it's hard to do that, but underrate his skill and technique, which makes people feel like other receivers are just better because they feel like they're more technically proficient.
Yeah.
When like the leaps and bounds Hill has taken over the years from being a return dude is like massively underrated.
I mean, and the attention span of, fans and people who take in this type of thing is short. So when you get, it's overshadowed by off the field issues and backflips and running up into the stands and grabbing the camera, you really don't have a lot of people sitting there dissecting this game and giving it a lot of the credibility that it probably should have. But the real ones know. Real Chiefs fans know, baby, we locked in, and Tyreek is a huge part of the train that is keeping us moving.
Facts. All right, so we'll move down to the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. How you feeling about them?
Raiders are trash, bro. They're poop. And I think they're only going to be slightly better than they were this year. But I've never been convinced by Derek Carr. I've never believed that man as a player. I think he's always played poorly against the Chiefs in particular. But he has high points, but I feel like, even moving into that beautiful new stadium, they are terrible playing at home. I think they had like a 4-5 game home losing streak or something at the end of the season by the time they got done last year. And so in terms of I just don't believe Derek Carr. And I also, if I'm not mistaken, they have a mega difficult schedule. If I'm not, or at least a reasonably difficult schedule.
It's tough.
Yeah,
it is tough. Like they play the Ravens, the Steelers.
Obviously,
they play the division, which has like the Chargers and the Chiefs in it twice. They'll play like the football team, the Browns. Like they have a quite difficult schedule. So I have them being like 8-9, maybe a 7-win team, middle of the pack. This team will have similar weaknesses to last year. They aren't going to get any stops. They can't play defense really well, but they'll have a relatively high-powered offense, even though they lost their speed guy with Nelson Aguilar going to the Patriots. And I just think it's going to be kind of difficult for them. I feel like they'll take an L to the Ravens, the Steelers, the Chargers in week 4 and 18, the Bears, the Chiefs twice, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the Washington football team and the Browns. So they need to get into shootouts to win games. And even then, I feel like they might be less big play potential than they were last year. But now they have 2 very good running backs. So we'll see if that changes how they try to control the clock, control games. It's just they're going to play a lot of teams that can put points up on the board. And I don't see where they get their stops from. So that's just going to be difficult.
Agreed. I think, everything you said has been right on the nose for me. I think I gave them an extra game over you. So I had them at 7-10. Okay. But that's only because I feel like they can maybe, get in the mix in the division, definitely take a game from the Broncos, maybe take an early game from the Chargers as, that offense starts to figure itself and figure some things out. Because, again, Derek Carr is trash, but he is always trash against the Chiefs. And I've seen him have some decent games. He ends up being, I think, a very streaky player. And he ends up playing some of his best football these last couple seasons toward the end of the season when it's just been largely irrelevant. So,
yeah,
if he can kick
like
it on,
the J.R. Smith of quarterbacks.
Very much. Very much. But if they can start to suture some of those things together and, like you said, use some of their receivers a little bit more effectively earlier on, they might have a chance. But like I said, just to win one extra game, and so I'm not giving them a whole lot.
Yeah. The next team is the Broncos for me. I think they're going to be last in the division.
Again.
They're a tough team to embrace. I have them at like 5 or 6 wins. And like, I feel like it's easy to underestimate this team, but two things that are important to me is I am one, going to assume they're not getting Aaron Rodgers, because if they do, that flips everything.
It does.
Yeah, like that man is the system. And the second one is like, who is your quarterback? It's murky. Like, you got Teddy Bridgewater. I like Teddy Bridgewater, but he has some clear limitations. And then Drew Lock, who just hasn't been able to take the jump that, they want him to. So assuming Teddy Bridgewater is a person that starts for them, gives them steady play, and allows them to play complementary football, this team can exceed expectations. Because it's odd how talented they are everywhere but quarterback.
Absolutely.
Right? They got massively good offense, Noah Fant at tight end, Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton at wide receiver, Melvin Gordon at running back. Like, those are stacked skill positions.
I mean, and that's even after losing Philip Lindsay. You know what I'm saying? They still have, I think, something to say on the offensive side. But I mean, like, if the person delivering you the ball is not going to be the person to really be consistent, or better yet, because Teddy Bridgewater, I think, probably has the ability to stabilize some things. But Drew Lock is being questioned as even being a starting level quarterback. Like, he has been very skeptical and made a lot of people very skeptical about his talent on that level. And so I think what becomes weird is you have all of these great offensive players, but you have a system that is so undetermined. I know they're going to try to split up some of their playing time, because if y'all ain't figured it out by now, in the preseason start next month, y'all about to be trying to sample and see. I can see a world where they set the tone. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I can see a world where they try to get out there and eat and really test out what they got in Teddy Bridgewater and see if it's time to go ahead and cut their losses with Drew Lock and, let him start the season. But I can also see a season where they try not to slight the young man, trying to see if he still got some in his tank, to see if some of these other moves that they've done in their coaching and then, some of their front office leadership and how some of the talent that's been brought in, see if that starts to influence some things. And then if not, then say, okay, Teddy, come on up, just like we thought. But
yeah,
it depends.
I agree. Right now, ESPN says that the depth chart has Drew Lock as the QB1. So I feel like they might overachieve with Teddy from the beginning, because Teddy is less prone to turnovers. He's more careful with the ball, allows them to play into a strong defense. Like, their corners are crazy. They drafted Patrick Surtain, who was a top 2 corner in this draft. They got Kyle Fuller from the Bears, who was like top 3 in the league in deflected passes. Yeah. Like, obviously, Von Miller, Bradley Chubb up front. Those dudes are well established. Like, if you're in a situation where you can take control of games time-wise, be careful with the ball, they could win a lot more games. But right now, I'll put them down for beating the Jags, the Jets, the Lions, the Bengals, and the Eagles, for sure. Then, like, if things go well, they might be able to grab a game from the Giants or the Cowboys or the Raiders.
Or maybe a hobble Steelers team or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, if you get the Steelers late.
Yeah. It could be a thing.
So this is a weird team. I agree. It's a weird team. There's a lot of potential here. It just feels difficult to... I wouldn't feel confident putting my money on them. That's what I'll say.
It's got to be rough to be a Broncos. Nah, my bad. I was about to say it's got to be rough to be a Broncos fan because of the uncertainty that's been at the quarterback position for a while now. Because, I mean, you like, oh, we got Drew Lock. But you like, oh, we got Drew Lock. What's good, right? You want to invest in young talent and be excited about that, but you got Drew Lock, but then also you lost the leader of your defense when Von Miller got hurt last season or whatever. So that it messed up your schedule in terms of getting a cohesive team that moves forward, where you can really see if you're gonna win or lose your games on offense or defense. Like, everything was just off calibration. You know what I'm saying? And so they are, like I was just agreeing that they are an interesting team to watch, because they could. I will say they could overachieve. I think they're a team that has a possibility of maybe surprising people. And by surprising people, I got them at 6-11. They might bump up and win another game or two if you can get, some connection and cohesion on that offensive line. But it's just not looking likely based on how they got their pieces moving around right now.
Facts. I think we're in the same place on this. That brings us to, I think, the most exciting team in the division. Because I don't think the Chiefs are exciting because at this point we know what to expect. We've seen this story a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know about you if you've ever seen Patrick Mahomes throw a football, but I'm still excited. So you speak for yourself.
They're exciting to watch, but not predict.
True.
Right?
True.
Like, we know what y'all gonna do.
I've been waiting all my life to have that team where it's just like, well, the Chiefs. So then let's talk about some other people real quick. Like, I've been waiting my whole life. You don't understand.
Look, I'm still waiting for that for the Bears.
Understood. Shout out to the Chicago Bears.
I got the Chargers going 11-6, and I really like this team. I think they should be quite dominant. I have them losing to the Chiefs twice, the Browns, the Ravens, the Patriots, and the Steelers, because they get the Steelers early. And like looking at this roster, man,
it's cute. Ooh, it's cute. LA football is coming back.
Yes, indeed. It's kind of crazy because I think they have a really underrated offensive, just total package. Keenan Allen is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league.
Hate playing.
Austin Eckler is a crazy dual threat. Like, his name should come up where Alvin Kamara's name comes up, in my personal opinion. Like, they got Mike Williams, who's an excellent deep threat. They added Jared Cook, who should be a great safety blanket at the tight end spot although like they lost Hunter Henry, who I would say is a better tight end.
He is.
But still, this is the Chiefs rebuilt their whole O-line, and all we could do was talk about it because we saw how bad it was in the Super Bowl. The Chargers low-key did the same thing, right? They got Rashawn Slater, who I think was arguably the second or third best offensive lineman in this draft. They got Corey Linsley from Green Bay, who is Pro Football Focus's highest rated center of last season. They spent the bag. Yeah. They got Brian Beluga at right tackle. They were like, yo, this Herbert kid is kind of... He's the truth.
And look, the song says, Jesus be a fence all around me every day. They said, okay, Justin Herbert, you got the hair. You got the, well, did he cut his, I think he cut his hair off. You used to have the Jesus hair.
He did. You
used to have the Jesus locks. We're going to put a fence around you, all right. And they started to figure some things out. The Chargers have consistently been our most interesting threat. The only kind of, I told you, I'm not scared of nobody's Derek Carr. So when you had Phillip Rivers out there, you know what I'm saying? It was like, which version of the old man we gonna get? We know you got 10 kids, so you got the strength, you got the heart. I think he got like 14. He got a whole, so we know you got some staying power. You know what I'm saying? But really, he got an arm on him. He can definitely get him down the field. And like you said, a whole lot of Eckler. Who else? You said another couple of players who have always given us fits. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So to know that change of leadership was so kind of seamless a little bit for them last season, and it did start the season. It started to become concerning in terms of what they're gonna be capable of.
This is a team that I think could take a huge leap forward. I think 11 wins is like a safe bet. Like if they put the over under at 10-5, I'd take the over like every time for this team. Yeah. As long as Staley is a good coach, which I think he should be, this should go fantastically because with all the complaints that they had last year with their coach, they still did really well. So I'm excited to see Justin Herbert's next season. I think the AFC West is going to be like electric with these two teams, the Chargers and the Chiefs going at it. The Chiefs will still win the division in my estimate, and I think they'll win it by a couple of games. But the Chargers will be there. The Chiefs won't be able to take the last 4 or 5 games off. The Chargers are going to be nipping at the heels.
They will. So I mean, they will be playoff bound. I'm pretty sure, and I think they might be able to last, a wild card game or a round or so, right? So that is a team that I'm have to give their due diligence to. For the last 3 seasons since Patrick kind of took the reins, I've been able to scoff, at all the teams. By the way, on behalf of Kansas City fans, this is how the order of hate that we have for these teams, right? You hate the Raiders more than anything, right? You get them out of here, they're terrible. Then you hate the Broncos. That's mid-grade hate because they're just a state. It's just a state between y'all. So you're gonna see some blue and orange jerseys around. It is what it is. And then you get to the Chargers, who are like always benign, always kind of like they're gonna do what they're gonna do. They're gonna give us a run for our money, but we don't hate them too bad. But I think they might be about to start to piss us off a little bit.
Okay, I like to hear that.
They could be. I mean, and I just honestly, because of I think everything that we talked about with Justin Herbert, I do have a lot of faith in him to give the Chiefs some hell. Maybe not the Chiefs some hell. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna eat, but some other teams that will make it interesting to see who makes it out of the division on top.
Yes, I agree. I think it's going to be an excellent division. I'm super looking forward to it.